Hi. So we're talking about head lice today. And you probably already have the heebie-jeebies and you're probably already freaked out and trying to figure out what to do. So the first thing I want you to do is take a big breath, calm down, and we're going to talk about it. Okay, and I will help you get through this step by step. So you get a notice from school that your child has head lice, and now you're freaked out. And I believe most of the time the schools will tell you that you can't come back. Your child can't come back until they've gotten rid of the head lice. And so we're going to deal with that. The first thing that I want to tell you about it is you're not dirty. Your kid's not dirty. You didn't do anything wrong. Head lice actually likes a clean host. So that's the first thing. It's not your fault. You didn't do anything dirty. The second thing is head lice, even though they're an annoyance and they're very easily transmitted from person to person, they don't carry diseases, and you don't have to worry about your pets. They like human beings. They don't like cats. They don't like dogs. So we have those things going for us in that regard. But yes, they're a pain in the neck. They can put a damper on your child's education, and there is still, for some reason, a stigma about it, even though it happens all the time. And I will tell you, I've had a lot of experience with this as a hairdresser. So going back to school, where we are right now in the calendar, is a common time for this to start creeping up again. So here's what we're going to do. Now, I know that there's a lot of home remedies out there, and you may not want to use chemicals on your child. And I do also want to add that if your child is under 2 years old, you do want to go talk to your pediatrician first before you do anything. But if your child is over 2, what the things that I'm going to tell you are going to be very helpful for you. And the most common ages for kids to get head lice are, like the preschool age through middle school. Those are the ages that typically they get them. It also seems to go more towards girls than boys, probably because girls like to play with their hair, and they like to share hats, and they like to share headbands and all these crazy things that we put on our head, which boys just don't do that as much. So not to say that boys can't get it, but it's more common with girls. So yeah. Okay, so if you have a little boy that has it, I can tell you one of the best preventative things that you can do. You may not like it style-wise, but it's easy as far as cleanliness and keeping from getting head lice and sports and things like that, is give them a little buzz cut. Because the lice, they hang out on the scalp. They don't really hang out on the length of the hair. They like to hang out on the scalp. And when they lay the eggs, they're very close here. And that's one of the things that you can tell if you have head lice or your child has head lice, is on the strand of hair there'll be a little tiny bead. They're very tiny, and if you run your finger down the length of the hair, it sticks. So if it moves, it's dandruff or dirt or something like that. But if it sticks when you go when you run your finger down the strand of the hair, it's a nit. Those are the eggs. Typically they like to hang out in the back. They'll go everywhere, but this is where I found most of the evidence of head lice. And you don't always see the actual bug itself because they move very quickly, but the nits, because they're stuck to the hair, they're easier to find, and they usually hang out in the back of the head. Or if your child is one of those who has, like a shave but has this is the only place they're going to hang out. So, it's not to say that they're only going to be in the back, but that's where they like it. I guess it's warmer back here, but that's their favorite place. Okay, so I'm not going to say that the home remedies don't work, but in my experience, having had 3 children and being a single mom and a lot of other things going on in my life, I have found that truthfully, going to the store and buying RID, it's RID, now they have a lot of other brands out there, but RID is the one that I used, and just following the directions and using my hairdressing knowledge, which I'm going to pass on to you, was the most effective way to get rid of them. So you can do those other things like mayonnaise and olive oil and coconut oil and mouthwash, etc. But I found that using RID or any of those over-the-counter products works the best. And my thought is this: these are regulated by our government, so they are considered safe for use. It's not like you're going to use this all the time. Okay, so what you're going to do is you're going to follow the processes, and you have to be calm, by the way. Okay, don't yell at your kids, don't freak out. You want to stay calm because you want to educate your children as you're doing this, and believe me, they're not going to like this process, so they're going to listen to you. Okay, so you buy this product, and basically you're going to follow the directions on the box. Okay, but when you're applying it, what I want you to do, don't just mush it all over the head, okay? Especially if you have a child with a lot of hair, or a little girl who has really long hair, or somebody who has thick hair. What you want to do is section it. So do a section from the front of the head all the way down the back, just like you're going to the hairdresser, and then a section from ear to ear this way. So you've got 4 sections, and clip them up or hold them up somehow out of your way. And then get yourself an applicator bottle that you can get at a beauty supply store, or if you know, or an applicator brush like the hairdressers use to apply color to your hair, you know. Okay, and you're going to take these sections, and you're going to, just like you're sectioning for a haircut, or if you're applying color to somebody's hair, take little sections, like 1-inch sections of hair, okay, and you're going to apply it mostly at the roots. This is where you want to concentrate, at the roots, and go out. So if they've had this infestation for a while, the nits may actually be growing out to here, okay, although they're probably hatched if they're that far out. But you know, where you see the nits, that's how far out the strand you want to go. Okay, so most of the product you want concentrated around the scalp and the parts of the hair that are closest to the head. That's where you want to get it, on the scalp and these areas. Don't worry if your child has, you know, shoulder length hair or really long hair out here on the ends, because they're probably not hanging out here. They like the warmth of the body. Okay, so they're going to be up here around the scalp, and that's where you need the product to be. Okay, follow the directions. It says to leave it on for however long it says to leave it on. Okay, and then rinse it. Now in the box there's going to be a comb. It's about this wide, and it's very, very closely fine teeth in it. Okay, so it's not like a regular comb that you would be combing your hair. These teeth are very, very close together. Okay, so after you rinse the product out and the hair's still wet, section the hair again from here all the way back, and then from ear to ear. Okay, just like you did when you were applying it. And then take little teeny weeny sections, and this is one of the most important parts, is using these sections when you're doing the hair, because you're getting in deeper into it. Okay, if you're trying to just apply the solution all over the whole mass of hair, or trying to comb through the whole mass, first of all, if you're going to comb through a kid who's got a big head of hair, you're not going to get in deep. Okay, you're going to miss spots, and it's going to hurt. It might hurt anyway, because the teeth are so close together. Okay, so what you do, you take these little teeny weeny sections and just work your way from the bottom to the top, and you want to take that comb and kind of slide it close to the scalp and then come out. Okay, don't start out here and come down. Okay, you want to get it in, so slide it in this way and then out this way. Okay, and do it in little sections, and you'll see that comb will pick up the nits and maybe some of the living bugs too, if they're still alive, or dead bugs and all that. In between strokes, okay, between each stroke, you want to wipe that comb off and get those nits and those the bugs and all that off of it. You might want to dip it like in some hot water or under some running water or something, but you want to get, make sure that the comb stays clean, okay? And so you're going to work your way through the hair. It's going to take a little time, all right? And it's hard on the child, okay? So this is why I want you to be calm, because your child's going to be traumatized. I hate to say it, but that's the truth. They're dealing with the same stigma that you are. Plus, this is physically happening to them. Okay, so you want to stay calm and reassure them that they didn't do anything wrong, and we're going to get through this, and we're going to learn now how not to go through this again. Okay, so this is the practical part of it, just combing through it. Okay, and you may have to do this a couple times. I believe when I had to do it, you did it 1 week and then you did it again the next week. Now, here's the thing that you want to be looking for in between these treatments. When those eggs start to slide, they're dead, okay? Because the knit the egg, it's kind of glued to the hair. So your product that you've used on it loosens up that cement or whatever the glue is that they have in their egg laying business. It'll loosen it up, and so when they start to move, you know that the eggs are dead. Okay, that's part one. Part two is to get rid of them in your house, because yes, they do come off of the child or the host. They get into the bedding, they get into your hats. If you have a hood on your jacket, they get into that. So you want to wash your beddings, you want to wash your clothes, hot water. Okay, we can't really worry about being environmentally friendly at this time. Right now we're combating an infestation, so we're going to do the things that we need to do to get rid of this. Okay, so you have to use hot water, and you have to use a dryer. Use the dryer, they say, for at least 15 minutes. If you're washing clothes, you're probably going to dry them for about an hour, and that will kill any lice that are in the clothing. Other things like stuffed animals or things that you think might be infested but you can't wash, put them in a plastic bag. Double bag it, actually, is what I suggest, because if you tie it at the top, there's still a little hole at the top. So then you bag it this way one time, tie it, then put the other bag so that the hole's at the other end, tie it, leave it for 2 weeks, okay? And that will kill any bugs that are on things that can't be washed, stuffed animals, etc. Okay? If you have a situation where you have multiple children who have this infestation and you have this big mountain of laundry, what I did, okay, because I had to deal with this myself, okay, so you're not, you didn't do anything, okay, I'm a hairdresser, and I still had to deal with this with my own children. I loaded everything up in my car, went to the laundromat, and did it there. That way, it was expensive, but I got it all done at one time, so I didn't have to worry about cross-contaminating with my kids not fully understanding or listening to what I'm telling them in the busy life that we had at the time. So I just did everything at once. It was the simplest way to do it, and I got it done. Now, we also need to let our kids know that they cannot share hats and headbands and brushes and things like this, because if they do, they run the risk of getting head lice again, and then we have to go through this routine again, and they'll get it. They will get it, and they will be hyper vigilant about it if they didn't like it to start with. Couple little myths about head lice is, I mean, yes, if you shave your head, there's nowhere for the lice to lay their eggs, and so that is one way of getting rid of them on your body, but not very practical, particularly for a little girl. So even if you cut their hair to here, they only need like 1/4 of an inch of hair to lay eggs. So the only, that's just not practical for a child, a little girl. So cutting the hair doesn't get rid of them. It may make it easier for you to maintain the hair, or for your child to maintain their own hair if it's short. But to do it as a preventative or as a remedy, it doesn't work, okay? So if you're somebody who likes your children with long hair, they can keep their long hair. My daughter, I have one daughter who has the thickest head of hair, and her hair was down to her waist, and cutting it wouldn't have done any good. You know, it just would have been added to that trauma for her. So yeah, long hair is a little bit more work, but you know, that's a decision you have to make. But just understand why you're doing that. The second thing is, as far as getting haircuts, if you're going to a hairdresser who understands head lice and his or her responsibility in it, if they find head lice in your child's hair, they're not going to cut the hair. They're going to send you away and tell you to treat the child, okay? There was so many times when somebody came in, and this is what I did at this time of the year. I would be checking the kids, looking all, you know, for signs of head lice, and that was before I even shampooed them and anything. And the reason why is, at least where I was licensed, and that was in the state of Maryland, I'm assuming it's everywhere in the United States, because head lice is kind of a problem, and because it is so communicable. But from the professional perspective of a hairdresser, if they, first of all, they're not supposed to treat it. They're not licensed to treat it. Second of all, when somebody comes in with that and they have hair and a cape and towels and all that, it is considered contaminated. They have to throw that away. They can't wash it and use it on the next person, which is good for you. I mean, you know, as a consumer, if your hairdresser knows what they're doing, they're going to throw all of that away. It goes in the trash. So that's lost money for them. You know, not just the business part of it, rejecting the customer, but also having to throw away items that they've used, the combs, everything. They're supposed to bag it up and throw it away in the trash. They're not allowed to use it on another customer. So, yeah. Anyway, it's going to seem like a big process, and it kind of is, but nobody's in any danger. It's really just a stigma thing, and a nuisance. So I'm sorry if you have it and you're watching this video. I'm really sorry that you're going through that. If you have any questions, please let me know down below. And on my channel, I don't allow bullying, so you might as well know. I'll say it again. If you're gonna write something mean or critical in the comments below about people who have to deal with this, you're gonna get blocked, okay? I'm not gonna tolerate it, you know. So I don't want anybody to be afraid to ask questions or share stories or anything about this situation, because it's embarrassing. And so, you know, you have my sympathy, and I wanted to help you out with that. Thanks so much for watching. Have a great day, and good luck if you've got lice.